Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Flores Inspire. Today I'm going to share you intuitive message that God asked me to share. But today he asked me to share my experience and my method on how I process my emotional trigger so I can find inner peace and I can find the solution of my problems easily, quickly, and I won't drag myself in the emotional suffering for long because once I process my emotion, all the discomfort, all the anger and the fear and the sadness could be released instantly, and I can, you know, go in my day feeling good, feeling peace and enjoy my life. So yeah, it was, I think, when I was like in high school to when I was in university until I worked first time in the advertising agency. Those periods are the hardest period in my life where I feel like I experience a lot of events that make me feel so down and even make me feels like I want to kill myself. I was thinking about suicide because a lot of things happening in my life that really broke my heart, that really make me feel like there's no point in living. And you know, it's such a like a very different different era because now I'm very happy. Apparently back then it was an era where all the emotional wounds that I suppressed since I was childhood was finally reached a tipping point where it's explode basically. So all the emotion that triggered within us, but we didn't process it correctly to the point of release, to the point of relief, it will, it will pile up and become such a magnet for unfortunate events, and it it made me experience a lot of awful experience such as sexual assault, like in street. When I was older, it's because I have like sexual trauma when I was a kid that I haven't processed. I even attract endometriosis, womb cancer, and I attract a lot of unfortunate events. And then finally, I met this emotional releasing coach, Ibu Miranda, that taught me how to process emotional trigger so I can let go of that negative emotions and I can find peace. And the technique that I use is back then she taught me how to use breathing, right? So it's like deep breathing, inhale, exhale while staying in the body. So I was just lying down on her sofa back then, but I figure out later on that when I lying down on the floor instead of the sofa, like grounding on top of the surface of the earth, it helped me so much better because there's like energy from the earth coming and support my body, and it feels really good, and it's easier to feel every sensation while I'm grounding on earth. And that's what I do. I Every time I feel emotionally triggered, instead of responding, instead of reacting, instead of looking for solution or taking action, I just take time to be myself and go into my room. There is a specific area that I use to ground myself. I just put a a piece of cloth and I lie down. If you see my video following the white rabbit, there I put how I did that, how I process my emotion there. Maybe I will just show you the screenshot here, and you can go to that video to see how I actually did it, because now I'm not going to do it in front of the camera because I already did it. So that's what I do. I will just go into my room before doing anything else. The first thing that I will do is just process my emotion every time I get triggered. If I'm in an event, if I'm in the I don't know, outside, I would just try to excuse myself as soon as possible and go back to my room, and I will just process my emotion first until for a couple of minutes until I can feel relief just by breathing. Yeah, that's what I do. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose, and I try to not think about anything, and I just pray to God. I ask God, please help me to go through this uncomfortable emotion. And then through the breathing, I will feel like sensation in my body, wherever it is that feels like heavy and painful. I just send my breathing there, and after a couple of minutes, usually it will feel better and I'll feel relief. And after I feel good, then I will find a solution for all anything the problem is. For example, back then, uh, my dog was missing, and I tried to looking around my neighborhood to find him, and I cannot find him at all. And then I was in a state of uh, fear, sadness, confusion, and I just go back to my room. And then back then, because I still unable to do it by myself, I contact my coach, and then she remind me to just lie down and breathe. And then after I process that, for a couple of days, but then my dog is missing for a couple of days, and suddenly when I finally being able to release all my tears because I was just crying. Apparently my dog missing was triggering a lot of my emotion regarding losing my father figure. Not that because he died, but because he was absent, like he's not there emotionally, and I was grieving that I don't have male figure that support me, that my dog was like giving me the support, and his presence alone is already being like replacing the father figure in my life. That's why when he went missing, my fear and my sadness and self blame, self guilt, it's like it come up, because we carry so many suppression of emotion, not just from our experience, but also the experience of our mother and our ancestor up to 17 generation, the epigenetic memory that carried in our DNA. So it's going to be a lot of things that will trigger us. If our ancestor also have that emotion, we will also have that emotion. If they haven't processed and released that emotion, we will need to process and release that emotion. If we didn't do that, it will pass down to the next generation, so our kids will have to deal with that emotion. And for me, because I don't have kids at the moment, it's just I have dogs. So yeah, some of my dogs have disease also because of that. That's why processing emotion is really important, because it can help us to avoid like unnecessary suffering, such as attracting unfortunate events to trigger this suppressed fear and anger or sadness. Because everything that we don't feel or release, it will become like a magnet for us to attract events that will trigger this pain even more, until we broke down in tears and just let go of this emotion. So yeah, that's what I do. I pray to God, and yeah, help me to be present. But now I can do it so easily, but it took me around 7 years until I can really be present with my emotion without running away. It's such a long journey. That's why, like at the beginning, I cannot even stand to just lie down for 30 minutes without doing 30 seconds without doing anything. I was just like thinking and trying to, you know, want to eat, or I don't know what did I do back then, but I distract myself a lot from my true emotion. But that's why I hired this coach, Ibu Miranda Rumi. She will like help me to stay in my body, stay being present, and continue breathing while processing the emotion, while asking me, while guiding me. That's why after a couple of sessions with her, um, after a few months, then I can do it myself, and I can process every emotions that triggered me. And once I release that emotion, usually the solution comes so easily. So for example, the dog that went missing, after I truly process my sadness, my anger, my fear, suddenly someone contact me that he found my dogs, and he even sent it to my house, and I just have to pay him like just for transportation. Oh no, no, I pay him like around 1.5 million Indonesian rupiah, but I do it like really because I already tell it in the Facebook, right? If they find my dog, I'll give them reward. And then it comes so easily because when I don't have emotion that angry, fear, or sad, I will go to a higher frequency, which is neutrality, acceptance, or even love. And then everything will come easily when I achieve that state. So that's why I really encourage you guys to learn to process your emotion first before doing anything else. To just sit with your uncomfortable emotion, to just cry when you need to cry, to just angry when you need to express your anger. But be careful when you're expressing your anger to not blame anyone. So instead of because of this guy or this government, blah, blah, blah. So I when I press my anger, I never do because of them, but because I stated like this. I feel angry because I want this and I don't get it, so I use I am instead of because of they. Don't do that, because that is illusion. Sometimes we create story that is not, maybe it's true from some perspective, from our perspective, but when we blame people, we are not taking responsibility for the part of our part that actually also co-create that event. Is usually because we expect something to be different than what it is. So learn to accept our contribution in whatever the situation it is. Try to not blame others and just focus on your emotion, even though if they are truly wrong, there's nothing we can do to change them, right? So we just need to see it from our perspective. Like for example, like why did I expect that person to be kind to me? Like why do I expect people to be kind to me? I don't need people to be kind to me in order for me to feel good about myself. Like if even if people treat me bad, it's not because I'm bad, it's because of they're such a bad person. But that that thought is also only be able to achieve after I release my self judgment and self blame. That's why I suggest you to also hire a coach, maybe. Because sometimes it could be very tricky in your mind. That's why, if possible, just turn off your mind and don't think about anything and just focus on the breathing and your body in the savasana or corpse pose, lying on the floor, corpse, corpse pose, and breathing while trying to feel your emotion. That's what I do. I even choose a job that allow me to do that. I work remotely, so I can process my emotion anytime. Yeah, and also at the beginning of my processing, I try to sensitize my body, so I let go of all addiction that make me numb. So people can use food, can use drug, alcohol, cigarettes, even working, even we can use other people, like social interaction as an addiction. So we keep like spending time with people for anything that you use to avoid your true emotion, to just sit with yourself, with your true feelings. It's called an addiction. And yeah, it's actually going to prolong your suffering, and it's going to attract more difficult situation for you to deal with, because you know that there's a saying like, if universe whisper to you and you listen to it, then it will not scream at you. But if God whisper to you and you ignore it, you become numb, it will scream at you like with louder voice. And then if you ignore it, it will poke you. And then if you ignore it, it will create an even where it's like so crazy you cannot avoid it anymore. And then you broke down and cry. But my suggestion is to not wait until you create such a disastrous events, even like all the disastrous event in this world. What I know is because the accumulation of negative emotion that people have that they don't process. That's why it's get projected to the earth, and the mama earth feel all the anger, feel all the hatred while we stepping our feet on the ground. And it will create events such as earthquake, tsunami, whatever. Yeah. So when we process our emotion, we will benefit ourselves, we will feel peaceful, we will benefit Mother Earth as well, because it will feel love when we step on the ground. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, is to raise my vibration from anger, fear, sadness. If you know the Dr. Hawkins diagram that I put here, if we are in this angry, such a low vibration, we will keep attracting experience that low vibration. But if we process our emotion, let go of the past suppressed emotion, we will can grow higher into like love vibration, even neutrality. We will experience life more smoothly. So that's all for today, guys. Oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's all for me for this English version. Let me know if you have any question regarding processing emotion. I don't know. Yeah, you can uh put the question in the comment, or if you want to be anonymous, you can DM me in Flow Rise Inspire. That's all for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want to help me to create more contents like this. Thank you guys. God bless you. See you.